Welcome to Co-Teaching Tips from Education Leaders Part 2, using the environment and physical arrangement to promote success. For joining me today.
Good morning, Sonia. Good to see you.
Katie is a principal, a former general education teacher, and literacy consultant for the district grades 1 through 12. Katie, I'd love to hear some perspective on co-teaching. Could you tell us a little bit about how, in your current building, co-teaching is working, especially with a lens towards how physical arrangement really influenced your co-teaching success in your current grades?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So we currently have a couple of classrooms who are co-teaching in grade 2. We started the year with a very traditional kind of physical arrangement in both of those classrooms, and as we started with co-teaching, we started thinking about what can we do to really make this opportunity best and really make the best use of our space. So we started thinking about the physical arrangement and what we could do there. We thought outside the box. We brought in since we had 2 teachers, right, in these classrooms, we brought in 2 separate small group tables instead of just the one, which allowed us to go from 2 teachers teaching whole group to lots of small group work, lots of flexible small group work. We talked about, does every student need a traditional desk? And we decided no, we could do some flexible spaces for these students. And really what we've seen is a huge shift. So a huge shift in responsibility. So allowing the students to have flexible spaces. They're getting up, they're moving, they're responsible for their belongings, they're showing more independence. And it's really allowed us to kind of close that gap in terms of learning. We're able to provide more time for these students, right? So instead of a whole group lesson, these students are perhaps working in several small group lessons and getting exactly what they need in terms of differentiation and instruction.
That's terrific, Katie, and thank you for those specific strategies. I know you said you were able to get 2 teacher tables. Were there other physical pieces of furniture, if you will, that helped facilitate this?
Yes, absolutely. So when we took away the student desks, we had to think about organization and storage, right? So we were able to get some small like storage ottomans. So the students who maybe don't have their items in a desk have a separate place that allows them to keep their items organized. This helped for a couple ways. This helped for the flexibility piece, but it also helped some students who are really struggling with having things out in the open. So we used those ottomans for kiddos who needed to put things away. And it worked beautifully. The other piece that we brought in was some flexible seating. So you'll see in both of our classrooms that we don't have just typical chairs. We have some wobble stools. We have some yoga balls. We have all kinds of different seating options as well. So this also allows the movement for the kiddos, and it allows it really allows the kids to physically move around those classrooms a little bit more easily.
One follow-up question, Katie. You said you took away student desks. You don't mean you took away all their desks.
No. So because we had a certain set classroom, right? And in order to bring in that second teacher desk for those flexible small groups, we had to eliminate some student desks. So we took away about 5 desks out of a traditional classroom where there were originally about 24. And those kiddos are now in lieu of the student desks, they sit at this small group tables when when like something whole group or like that is their place, and then they move around the room as needed. So while the small groups are happening, there's a flow, and the kiddos have learned to kind of be flexible in their workspace. So there's a lot of movement in the classroom where you have small learners who need to move.
And I understand, having been in that classroom and seeing the students, that the students regard this as a privilege, which is a really nice way to allow students a little extra, or to give them some responsibility.
Absolutely.
So Katie, one last follow-up question. In terms of the data, what are your data showing?
So the data is showing that we really are closing that achievement gap. When you look at the amount of students who were receiving tiered supports, we are able to pull some of those tiered supports away because they're receiving really specific differentiation in the classroom. So that's been a huge piece where, where we were kind of starting across the board, right? We were starting kind of behind the eight ball with all of the COVID protocols that we had to put in place. And we've seen this kind of gap grow for students just because of what we were facing. By really rearranging and thinking outside the box, we've seen that gap really get smaller, and we're seeing student success. So bringing those kids up closer to or beyond grade level expectations has been huge.
Is it what you expected, Katie?
It is what I was hoping for. It's what I knew could be possible. It's hard. A first year implementing something new like this, you kind of go into it thinking, all right, it might take us a little while to kind of hit the ground and run with it and really see the results. So the fact that I'm seeing the results so soon has been so encouraging and so exciting.
Well, Katie, thank you for sharing all of your tips and strategies. We really appreciate you taking the time out to do that. And good luck as you continue to grow your co-teaching endeavors.
Thank you so much, Sonia.
Thanks again, Katie. For more information on training you can provide your staff, consider attending the National Co-Teaching Train the Trainers Institute Co-Teaching That Works. This 4-day virtual opportunity, which runs from July 12th through July 15th, will be very interactive. All materials will be provided, including presentation materials and videos, to help you develop professional development for your own staff. It will be presented by expert trainers. See www.ber.org for more information.